Hello again from
Jan and Dina.
Jan and Dina. And just so that you can see that we are wearing the same clothes as the previous episode, is that we were so in the moment after we ended that transmission that we decided to continue and create the next one.
That's right. I wonder if I can show my shirt. Let's see. If I stand up.
You'll have to stand on a chair or something.
That looked really weird. I'm not going to do that again.
Today is the day.
Today is the day. So this is a series of transmissions that we are doing called Permission to Come Alive. And we created this idea in our very first phone call together, middle of August of 2018. And Dina lives in South Africa and I live in Santa Barbara, California. And we've never met in person, but we had such a strong connection and resonancy that sparks flew, ideas were generated, energy spread, and joy just expanded. And so here we are. This is the second of a series of transmissions.
Yeah, so spontaneously we decided to take it further, to have more discussions because we really just resonated so much with each other. It felt like we were on the same frequency.
Absolutely.
Having met for the first time that time, and we decided, well, this really, there are no coincidences in this universe. So this is a divine connection, and let's then work with the universe and see where it takes us.
Absolutely. And I think the more we talk, even during these transmissions, the more we find other elements of coincidence, if you want to call it that, frequency, shared frequencies. And I think we're going to continue that. And I think that's a really important focus for each of our conversations here, because it's important to share with people that that's the way life is supposed to be. That's the way life actually is when you come alive.
Yeah.
Synchronicity, serendipity, coincidence, shared, frequencies, hunches, ideas, finding the right parking place in the exact moment you need it, finding that person that knows so many things that you know, and that's just so beautiful. We need to elevate the awareness that that's the way it can be, because that's the way we were designed as these vibrational spirit source beings coming into the physical form.
Yeah. And on top of that, coming into physical form is we are continuously creating form. We are creators.
Absolutely.
We are continuously doing that with our thoughts.
Absolutely. In fact, when you, in the last transmission, said, coming to know who you are, that's sometimes a challenge, coming to know fully who you are. I think it's a challenge because we're continually changing and morphing and evolving and awakening and transforming. We're never the same from one moment to the next. And that's actually, it's a really good segue into the topic of this transmission, permission. What is permission all about? Permission means recognizing that each of us is continually desiring change, desiring to feel better, desiring to awaken and present the real me inside of here at every moment, and discovering who that is. And there's no one that's going to give you permission except yourself.
Yes. Even though we may think we need it from people, our partner or family or whatever, that is actually just an excuse to keep you in your comfort zone. If you really want something, you need to give yourself permission first.
Yeah.
because that is the person that you must, that's the gate that you must pass, is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, by meaning yourself is your ego mind that would love to keep things the same. So if you are used to not giving yourself permission to come alive, either giving yourself not permission or coming alive, then this is going to be quite an adventure for you, and quite a courageous adventure for you to do this.
Absolutely. You know, I didn't plan on this, but can I share how I came into my ghostwriting editing business? Because it has to do with this. So
Sure.
I was asked to speak at a holistic chamber meeting back in early 2015, late winter. And I designed a talk that was called, Who Are You? And I created exercises and materials and the talk topic content. And it went really well. And I got home afterward and just felt really good about it. And I was reviewing the notes and all the exercises that I created for this and that everyone loved. And I was just really proud of myself, you know, and just really just feeling so good and just patting myself on the back and just feeling like it was a win. It was just such a victory. It was just such a joy, you know. And as I looked at these 3 different sets of exercises that I'd created just for this topic, I thought, I'm going to take these exercises for me. I'm going to do them right now. So me, a little background on me, I always was the one who wanted to take assessment tests, you know, the one who wanted to find out what this result was if I took the left brain versus right brain, or the audio versus visual, or the, you know, whatever these, you see them everywhere, Facebook, magazines, everywhere. So it was fun for me to take my own exercises, because I hadn't ever taken my own exercises, because I had created them out of my life experience, right, for these people. And so at the end of taking these exercises, I had just this awakening and this coming alive and awareness that I didn't want to do what I was doing anymore. I didn't want to be the owner of my business that I had at the time. It wasn't thrilling to me anymore. I wasn't passionate about it anymore. I wasn't inspired. I wasn't energized. It became increasingly difficult for me to do my work, even though it was my own business. And the reason it became increasingly difficult and boring and challenging, and I procrastinated, was because it wasn't who I was anymore. And so I came to this, you might want to call it a come to Jesus moment after doing the exercises. And I said, I can change my mind. I created this business. I created this identity. I shared it with my public, but I have to give myself permission to change my mind about what I want to do and do it. And then I did. I changed my mind, and I decided from the result of these exercises that I wanted to do ghostwriting and editing. And within 48 hours, I thought of the name of the business. I secured the domain. I created the entire website. I created a Facebook business page. I created an email. I sent it out to my database announcing that I was transitioning and I had a new business. It was my launch. And that was in 48 hours. And that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't given myself permission to change my mind, without concern for how is that going to look? What are people going to think of me? What about the clients of that other business? What if I don't have the this behind it, or the that behind it, or permission or authority or support or whatever? And so the point of this all is, not only did I give myself permission to change my mind, but I had to let everyone know that this is what I'm doing, and don't expect that of me anymore.
That's courage.
Don't expect me to act the same way anymore, because I'm not that person anymore. And yeah, it was only 2 days ago, but your life can change in an hour.
Absolutely. And of course, setting out that email just made it sort of permanent. It's like burning a bridge. It's like no turning back. I've made this decision.
Yeah.
And isn't that so powerful? to make a decision. You know, in our neurology, the word decision is such a powerful word. If we say that we decide something, it's a very powerful symbol in our neurology, is to when we say that we make the decision. And of course, you know, coming together with that is our own personal integrity, is to respect ourselves, that when we say that we make a decision, that we actually honor it. Yeah. So it's not something to do lightly, it's something to do when we're really serious about something.
Yeah, well, that goes along with the giving yourself permission, because we're conditioned through our parents and the people who raised us and the people we look up to and the leaders of the world and politicians, religious leaders, teachers, everyone, to people please. I mean, if you want to just put it into one little box, as simple as possible, we're brought up to people please. We're brought up to make sure that our mother feels better and our, teacher approves of our work, and our, leader of this accepts our admission, and our friends like us, and, we are raised to
conform.
Put ourselves last. We're not important. Our thoughts aren't important. Our feelings aren't important. What's important is doing the right thing. Well, what does the right thing mean? The right thing that we're raised to believe is the right thing for everyone else. And so we don't ever give ourselves permission, because we're raised that you just don't do that. That's the major paradigm break. And so it's not just a courage thing. I mean, although it does take courage, but it's easier when you are so clear about that thing you want to do now, or that thing you want to have, or that thing you want to be, that you just have there's nothing going to get in your way. Nothing can stop you, because you are feeling so good and so excited about that thing that you want. There's not a doubt in your mind, and there's no resistance to giving yourself permission and to just starting it. So yeah, you can take courage into the play, but when you're inspired to that high degree, it's almost like there's this higher calling that had just spoken to you, and you have no choice. You can't ignore it, because you feel better than you felt in a long, long time. It's easy.
It's easy. Yes, it's easy. But I do want to say that however easy that may be in that moment, if you start dwelling upon it, if you start not taking action immediately on your decision, then of course, because that's a huge step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
That's a huge step for just, rocking the boat and turning everything upside down. Is you have to take action on that immediately, because otherwise you'll talk yourself out of it.
Yeah. And the other thing is, when you start to think the old paradigm, well, I should check with so-and-so, or I should run it by so-and-so, or I should get so-and-so's opinion, or I should share it with so-and-so and make sure that they think it's okay before I actually do it. That's the trap that you've been in your whole life. So
you're back to people pleasing.
Yeah. The best decisions are made from only you, only your soul, only your heart, and your inspired thoughts. And once you stay in that focus and in that alignment, don't share it till it's done. That's why I waited. The website was up, the name was up, the Facebook was up. I had my list of services and the pricing. I knew exactly what types of services I was going to do, and then boom, it's out there.
And what I love what you said, Jan, is, it just feels, it's like everything is aligned.
Absolutely.
With that decision. Everything is absolutely aligned. And, and then you sort of stay in that energy as you take action.
Yeah.
And not share it until it's done. Because no matter who you're going to share it with, is not going to agree with you, because that is way out of their comfort zone.
Yes.
With how they see you and how they experience you and how they want to keep you the same as you before. And of course, then it's easy when we start lending our ears out for that we sort of have this glimpse of who we can really be, and then we can pull back.
Yeah.
and not do it.
So what do you think about permission, and what does that feel like? What comes up for you when you talk about permission to come alive?
Permission to come alive for me is to really have that freedom in me.
Mm.
To really honor my inner freedom, my inner being, just, and it's to really consciously seeking it out, is to really consciously put me in a place. I call it my happy place,
I love it.
where I just feel it's such a combination of, I think there are different degrees of alive. Let me take back. I've got different degrees of alive.
Yeah.
I've got a degree of alive where I'm just so at peace. And I think that's the happy place, where I just feel so connected with source. It doesn't matter what's happening around me. Especially, we're in a thought universe, so we pick up lots of thoughts. And, if you really allow yourself, you can really worry about something every second. But if you decide that, I'm in control of my mind, I'm choosing my thoughts, and there's my happy place, is where I just know that I'm safe and I'm loved and everything works out for me.
Yeah.
Just to be there and trust, that whole, I think I heard Abraham Hicks once said that in one of his things, that, you feel as if you are wrapped in a blanket of love.
Yes.
And that feeling is just so peaceful. And then, of course, there's the other degrees of alive. As I said to you earlier, put me in a speaking position and I come alive. I just love talking. I just love speaking. I think that's my higher calling in life, is really just to inspire. To inspire people and to empower them, and to and of course, as we do that, we do it for ourselves as well, because that energy that radiates from us comes from within, and it comes back to us as well at the same time.
We're just a channel.
Which is?
We're just a channel.
We're just a channel.
Source, plugging in, and coming out through the voice, out to the world. They feel it. They send the vibrational appreciation back. We feel that appreciation, and it's just a continual loop. And I feel the exact same way you do. Speaking makes you come alive, especially when we're speaking about these kinds of things. I don't do idle chit chat. Just same thing you said.
No. For people to explain, I love explaining to people how the universe works, universal laws work, how their mind works, the science behind the law of attraction. The energy, how it works. If you know how it works, if you understand how anything works, you can work with it.
That's right.
To work for you.
That's
and that for me is so important. But the permission side to that is to facilitate that for yourself as well.
Mm-hmm.
To facilitate it, to surround, your environment is very important to facilitate that coming alive.
Yes.
So to surround yourself with activities, people, places, things, where that becomes easier and easier. Because what are we after? We are after a way of being.
That's right.
Of feeling alive. Of it becomes a dominant way of being, so that we're in that state all the time. And of course, it means to be present, to be present. And I get the feeling of to have that innocent eye, where we can just really appreciate and just see things, just see that, because I think we get so oblivious and blasé about stuff that we have in our faces that we don't see. And because our mind can focus continuously on the absence of what we don't have. Of course, by doing that, we just perpetuate that, and we're just creating more of that. But it's like a paradigm shift where we choose to seek the beauty, choose to seek the things that make us come alive. And of course, that coming alive is just our alignment, It's our alignment with Source. When you see something that's beautiful, when you just can appreciate a beautiful sunset, or see or read about somebody that received a miracle, or anything like that, an random act of kindness. Mm-hmm. All of these things make us come alive.
3 things came up for me when you were talking, both in this transmission and the one we just did. And the 3 keywords were trust, self-image, and innocence. So I'm going to start with the trust one. I don't know what time it was, maybe 3 a.m. I woke up, and it was like I saw this kind of like a neon, not really neon, but bold capital letters, the words TRUST. 3 a.m. I woke up and I just saw that in my mind. It was big. And that's always been one of the key words resonating with my life since I was young, and I'm just bringing this up because we're always, you and I, I find ourselves in line with each other's thoughts and experiences and opinions and feelings so much. I just thought that was so beautiful, because giving ourselves permission requires to trust in ourselves and only ourselves, and to stay in the alignment of that trust and to move forward from that place. And if you don't trust yourself for one reason or another, maybe you don't really fully know yourself or fully know what you want, or fully believe that you're capable of making your own choices and being successful and happy doing that. Trust is just number one. And then the second word you talked about, self-image, I think in the first transmission. And then today, just now, you talked about innocence. One of the books I'm working with my client editing is, I'll tell you the name. It's called You Matter, Even If You Don't Think So. Shout out to Joseph Binning. One of the things he's writing in the chapter that I'm editing right now is about knowing who you are and what your self-image is right now. What does that self-image look like? What is it composed of? And typically it's composed of, all the thoughts that you've ever had about who you should be, including the thoughts and opinions of others about who you are. And if those thoughts about who you are aren't reflecting who you truly are, self-images are distorted almost all the time. How do we break the distorted self-images and find and see who we truly are? And for each of us, that's difficult, because we're the ones with these, these stories, as Joseph says in his book, that are comprised of every experience we've ever had in our lives. This happened to me, so now I'm this, and that happened to me, so now I'm that, so I believe this because that happened to me. And so that means I'm this and I'm not that. And that's our self-image, And so he talks about one of the ways to break that and to find out who you truly are and your accurate self-image is going back to the innocence of when you were a child. So when you were a child, before you felt this people-pleasing, redirected sense of self, you had no boundaries. You had no idea that there were limits in life. You believed in happily ever after. You believed in creating anything you wanted. You believed in happiness. You were constantly happy, bouncing around, playing, making believe, making your dolls, making houses out of sheets and cardboard boxes, and I don't know where all this goes, but I just think it all kind of ties together with the trust, the self-image, and the innocence, to going back
Absolutely.
full circle,
Absolutely.
trusting in the innocence of who you are that's still in there. And
Yeah.
that's the part you trust. That's the part you give permission to move full speed ahead.
Yeah. And I think, a great way to become aware of that is things that we lose along the way is our unconditional self-worth and
Yeah,
our imagination. And
absolutely.
our unconditional self-worth is unknowingly often destroyed by parents and teachers because of the whole, as you call it, the people pleasing.
Yeah,
And and we are cultivated into little performance people. You have to
exactly.
perform, you have to, and you are measured, and we learn then that we are loved and approved of when we perform,
Exactly.
when we do well. If we don't do well, then we are reprimanded and ridiculed and ignored.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, according to that person's definition of well.
exactly. And it's so often because we learn to compare ourselves to others, because that's where the competition comes in and the performance comes in. And what happens is that we actually confuse our self-worth with our self-confidence,
Yeah,
and that our self-worth is unconditional. It's we are beings. We are spiritual beings in a human body. So your worth is a given. The
yeah,
rest is all about confidence. The rest is all, everything external to you is about your doing, is about doing things, learning things, getting things, people. It's all about external stuff. And that, to separate that, is so important, because
mm-hmm.
that allows you to make mistakes, to be yourself, to explore things, because your self-worth is not on the line. If we measure our self-worth in terms of what we do and not do, have and not have, and what other people think about us or other people's opinions, then we're on a permanent roller coaster ride. That self-image is on a permanent roller coaster ride.
Absolutely.
And that's when we create that image of inferior, unworthy,
Mm-hmm.
not good enough. And that stays with you. Even if you form that at 10 years old, that stays with you your whole adult life until you correct that self-image. Of course,
Yeah,
the fact is that we cannot rise above how we see ourselves.
that's right. That's so true. That's
And
absolutely true.
and
You could make
that
it, but I
I
want you
I
to.
got so scared when I learned that,
Yeah,
because I mean, wow.
yeah,
So it's my mission. People need to correct their self-image. Then they need to step into that powerful self of theirs and do it often enough so that it becomes a way of being.
I think
Absolutely.
that leads into a topic maybe we can do another time about who are you? Who are
Mm.
you really?
Who are you really?
And how to find that out. It sounds so simple and so mundane and obvious, but it's not really. But as far
Yeah.
as giving yourself permission, I just want to put out there that we're taught, as I said, we're people pleasers. So we're taught that we have to get permission. Or you can use another word to replace permission with approval, acceptance,
Mm.
forgiveness, support, all kinds of words. But that comes from that people pleasing place.
Mm.
And
And it starts with us.
newsflash, we are adults and we don't need anyone's permission. I can create whatever it is that I want to create. I can be whatever I want to be. And I can do it in whatever way I want to do it. I don't need to have any established standards to be me.
Mm.
And that's where part of that strength for me to change my career to ghostwriting and editing came from. Because in the back of my mind, I had thoughts of, oh, but I don't have a degree in that, or, oh, I don't have a certification, or, oh, I haven't, you know. But then on the other side of my mind, I've been like, well, I've been doing that my whole life. I've been writing and editing and creating my whole life. So which is valid? Do I need that certification, that degree, that approval, permission, endorsement? Or do I just need me and my ability, my gifts, and my experience? And this part one, of course.
And of course, that is the proof of the pudding. Is, you know, can you do it or not? Absolutely. So I wanted to say something, but now it's left my thoughts.
Let's talk about at each transmission our websites and who, you know, what we do. So just in case people don't watch the previous one.
Okay. So you had such a beautiful way of putting what you do, Jan. Go for it.
Okay. I have two businesses. I'm a ghostwriter and editor, and that website is thegiftedghostwriter.com. And I'm also a Genius and Joy life alignment coach, or I call it a guide. I'm not really a coach. I'm guiding you. And that website is the Genius and Joy Life Experience.com.
And I am a business and life success coach for entrepreneurs. And I help you to create a prosperous soul purpose business by looking at your relationship with yourself, your self-image. I just talked about that at length. Your relationship with money, your relationship with your inner being. And then also look at your purpose, at your soul purpose, your niche, what makes you come alive, and really explore that and package that and refine it and dish it up so that your clients says it's just a gourmet meal that they can't resist.
Absolutely. You know, we didn't share this last time, but this idea for the name Permission to Come Alive also came from a quote I have on one of my websites, on one of my emails, which is by Howard Thurman. And he said, don't ask yourself, oh gosh, let me try to remember. I forgot. My mind's blank.
Don't ask yourself, what is your niche? I think that's what he said. Ask yourself what makes you come alive.
Yes, something similar to that. Let me see if I can find it. My mind went blank. Don't ask yourself what you can do. Something like, don't ask yourself what you can do, what the world, here we go. Don't ask yourself what the world needs.
Yes, that's it.
Ask yourself what makes you come alive.
Makes you come alive.
Because what the world needs is people who have come alive.
Come alive.
So it's just an example of what we're taught is to find out what he needs and what she needs and what you need and what they need, and then go serve them. And he's saying, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive. And then go do that and be that, because that's the world needs. We need people to come alive.
Yeah, and it will definitely resonate anyway with serving and bring it all together for you.
Yeah, when you come alive and you find who you are and you display that and show that to the world, it's just, like I said in the last transmission, it's a boomerang effect. You know, you end up serving, if you don't serve yourself first, like they say, the flight attendants say on the plane, you can't serve anyone else. You're serving from a depleted, empty cup, and nobody's going to get anything out of a choked off cup, because you're trying to please everyone else without even knowing who you are and pleasing yourself first. Give yourself permission.
Isn't it ironic? The moment I wrote a blog once about how to get rid of resentment, and resentment happens when we want other people to give to us what we actually need to give to ourselves.
Yeah.
So, and it's so amazing that the moment we start giving to ourselves, the moment that we really take time for ourselves and spend time with ourselves and do the things that make us come alive, then we have so much surplus energy.
Absolutely. Because
To
we
just
tap into that.
spread, to just spread into our families and the kids and everything that demands of us. Then we have the surplus to actually, let them just bathe in it, basically.
Absolutely. It's like we turn on our ignition switches, because then we can turn on the power, but we can't turn on the service to others if we haven't turned on our own power.
Yes, then the battery is flat.
Yeah. Well, I loved this transmission today. I'm so happy and look forward to the next one. I'll be wearing a different shirt.
And I hope you've enjoyed this. People who have been watching this, we really try to keep it to a half an hour, but we really, this is such a spontaneous, really a spontaneous transmission.
Absolutely.
We have no notes, we have nothing.
Exactly.
We have a theme, and we just talk. So if you love this, please like it. Please subscribe to our videos, whether you see it on Jan's YouTube or mine. And then also, click that bell notification so that you can get notified when we have a next video.
Absolutely.
And if you have any questions or comments, we would love to hear from you.
Yes.
Great.
So give yourself permission. Go out there and do what you can do best. No one else can do it.
Come alive and feel what that feels like again and again and again.
So appreciative.
Or take it to the next step. Okay, let me just stop talking. Bye for now.
Bye.